Welcome back. Third Phase of Moon, Blake Cousins here live on location, special radio event. We're going to be taking your calls in regards to the UFO phenomenon. Right now we're on a UFO hunt along the Hamakua coast as Tropical Storm Anna makes its way south of the Big Island. But right now, just take a look and keep your eyes on the skies, everybody, because you never know, Third Phase of Moon Radio, who's going to be calling in next live. So let's go ahead, as we're watching this incredible action behind me, go to our next caller right here on Third Phase of Moon. Welcome.
I can hear the storm behind you.
Absolutely. You know, we're trying to do this live from the Big Island. Hopefully we don't break up, but hey, we wanted to get to people's stories, UFO sightings, your thoughts, and people saying that Dr. Greer says that all alien abductions are military and related, and alien abductions do not exist. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely don't think that that's true. I definitely think that there are extraterrestrials. And I can't wait for the show tonight to hear everybody's stories. I get to listen. I'm ready to hear exciting news and news. But thanks a lot for having the show tonight, Blake.
Absolutely. You know, Hurricane Anna, I think we're dodging a bullet, but we are broadcasting live. Will you wait till you see it on YouTube, the location that we're shooting at, doing this radio show and the whole program? Yeah, let's get to a caller that's calling in right now. Air code 604. You're live, Third Phase Moon. Welcome.
Hi, this is Anonymous calling in. Again, I have some updated information for you and your listeners regarding what will most likely occur this year. There will most likely be an electromagnetic pulse attack in the near future. It'll knock out the power to some major cities. This will be followed by UFOs in the sky, followed by synthetic telepathy messages put into people's minds, and then followed by the appearance of human-looking ETs in groups of 5 to 20 at a time. They may claim to be from Procyon and Tegeta, but I want to caution you and your listeners regarding them and any claims they have, because if they don't immediately confirm that targeted individuals, TIs down here, are being targeted and attacked with microwave electromagnetic weapons, then they cannot be trusted. And likewise, unless they prove through physical, visible observation that they are in fact the enemies of the Greys, the reptilians, and the Grey human hybrids, then they likely...
That is very interesting when people do say that the alien Greys and the hybrids, and there are reptilians and there is this race and they're all out to get us. People do think that, and I'm thinking that there's all kinds of aliens out there, and some of them are good and some of them are bad, and people agree with me on that. Some people think, in your way, Anonymous, that all aliens are out to get us. But Dr. Greer is saying that the aliens aren't out to get us, that they haven't even abducted anybody, which is a pretty interesting statement. People said he's been kind of flip-flopping on that over the years. Anyway, let's go to another caller right now. Welcome, Third Phase Moon. We're live off the Hamakua coast. Hurricane Anna has made its way along the islands, and we are in it right now.
You know, the question is what we're asking tonight on Third Phase of Moon Radio. Are storms magnets for UFOs? We know along the Hamakua coast there's been mass sightings of UFOs along this coastline, and we want to get your opinion. Are UFOs magnets to major storms? I know Tropical Anna storm right now is working its way on the coast. Let's go to our next caller right now.
Well, gosh, you know, I really don't know what to think about that, other than unless it's got something to do with the energy charge of the storms, and unless the storms are connected with, of course, you know, the scientific manipulation of the weather, and they're trying to keep track of that and such things. You know, I really don't have much of an insight on that right now. I mainly wanted to call in to just give some feedback to, you know, to Dr. Greer's assertion that you know, these abductions are all staged by some shadow government, and that you know, these ETs are some sort of you know, created entities. You know, I just don't believe that our government can create entities that can create telepathically with abductees and just along, I've had my own experience, with UFOs and ETs, and I just can't figure out, Dr. Greer seems to have flip-flopped here a big time on this, and after all these years that he's been, promoting, the ETs are there and they're here to help and they're benevolent and this, and now he's saying, I'm just trying to figure out what his motive. Why is it that all of a sudden now he is trying to convince everybody that these ETs are all something that were manufactured by the government, and that they have the power to create living entities that can create of course, he says that they do that through, their psychological, their psyops. They have that they create these entities, and then through their electronic manipulations, they telepathically communicate with you to make you think that you're being telepathically communicated with by the ET. It's just, that's all too much. I just don't think our science is anywhere on the level of being able to do that. And I'm just trying to figure out what his motive is. What would you think his motive would be for coming out like that?
Well, maybe, it's hard for me to speculate on where his head's at because, he's been doing this for a long time. And in the beginning, when he did his National Press Club about, over a decade ago, it was one of the biggest watched events in Internet history. And, after flip-flopping like this, I don't know what happened and why he would do that. And, it goes against the edge of when people call into Third Phase Moon and share their stories, that it would be theoretically impossible to think that the government's behind this kind of technology. It just doesn't make sense. Hey, stand by. We're going to go to another caller while we're right here on location.
Hamakua Coast, and there's absolutely no wind going on at the moment, but if you look at the coastline, there's mass chop and whitecaps going on, about maybe 4 to 5 foot swells, but it is going to get bigger as we're going live here at Third Phase Moon. We want to go to callers from around the world, but I wanted to bring up the ISS, NASA. They continuously disclose UFO footage themselves straight to the public, and Brandon and I are keeping an eye out for these things. We've been notified by the public as well on UFOs showing up in NASA footage. Take a look at this video that we just posted to Third Phase of Moon. Above planet Earth, the ISS, a video records a strange blinking object. Take a look. Now we'll zoom it up 1000% and add some brightness contrast so we can get a better look at whatever this object is. The UFO phenomenon is real, whether it be weather phenomenon, military in nature. I do believe we're not alone in this universe, and I think storms are magnets for UFOs. They might want to see on how they tick. Well, as we're standing by looking for UFOs, as Anna comes in towards the Big Island, let's take another caller into Third Phase of Moon. Welcome.
This is Mixie.
Hey, Mixie. Hey, thanks.
You earlier.
Hey, let me ask you, we're on the Big Island right now. Hurricane Anna's in our backyard, but we're trying to transmit this radio show live on location, and we're going to be posting this up on YouTube. But I wanted to get your opinion on, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dr. Greer, who claims that all alien abductions military controlled and has nothing to do with extraterrestrial. What's your thought on that?
Not all of them. I know from experience. I'm kind of privy to a lot of information.
Well, welcome to Third Phase. You're going to share it with the world right now. What do you think you should tell our Third Phase of Moon listeners to get things started right now?
Well,
Hey, thanks for calling in. Before we go to our next caller, we want to set the camera down, get a steady shot of the ocean and the horizon, and see if we can do some UFO hunting ourselves right now, live on the radio. As we go to our next caller, keep an eye out close, see if you see anything. Welcome to Third Phase Moon, you're live, go ahead.
Okay. For one thing, everybody freaks out about grays. Little short guys, big heads. They're not going to hurt you. They're children. They're children of a much taller species. They're like two factions that kind of fight with each other. Have been for a long time. That's why there are all the rumors that, aliens came to our planet and helped the primitive civilizations like the Incans and the Mayans and the Egyptians kind of get started. There is actually truth in that. They left because there was, they started wondering why they should be helping us when we were so primitive compared to them. And the rest of them didn't really like that idea, and they took their argument elsewhere.
Let me ask you: have you been in proximity with the alien Greys?
Yeah, we've got a group of them that visit us quite frequently. They might actually be in the house somewhere right now. They like to hang out in the art room and read our books.
Well, so you're saying right now there's an alien Grey with close to you at this moment?
I know one by name. I talk to her constantly.
Well, can you? What's the number one question that you ask her? Do you ask her why she's here? I'd imagine.
The reason that we don't know the actual name of their species. Mostly because their language is very odd. Most of, I can say things to her out loud, but she kind of talks telepathically to me because when she opens her mouth, it's this weird, it's like there's three voices in there. One sounds vaguely humanoid, one sounds almost like some sort of whale song, and the third one I can't even really describe. They don't seem able to modify it to speak like us. Unfortunately, they're not so pleasant cousins can. Apparently, somehow I don't know if it's an evolutionary thing or what, but the not so pleasant, my mom and I just call them the others. They're almost like de-evolved versions of the ones that I have kind of constant contact with. My mother and I just call them the tall ones, because when they're fully grown, they're like 7.5, 8 feet tall. You don't see them very often. You'd know if you saw them. They're kind of bioluminescent.
As we're live right here at Third Phase Moon Radio, you could see the arm of Anna come over the Hamakua coast, and it's moving quite quickly. I'd say it's about 20 to 30 miles an hour, and it's big and massive. I think it's going to get real bad here. Well, we're going to survive it here on the Hamakua coast. We have dodged a bullet. It is just quite amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some static electricity, sometimes known as ball lightning. It does happen in these kind of weather phenomenons. Let's keep an eye out.
So are the tall white Greys are babies as well? Are they children?
I'm not sure if you could turn that luminescence off. I've never actually asked her that. The Greys are children, and they have a juvenile. Did you ever see Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Absolutely.
Okay, you remember they had big to do. The spaceship came down, all the little Greys came out, and there was a really tall guy that just kind of stood by the door, and at the very end there was that really awkward-looking one that had the really long arms and the elongated skull, but he had really short legs.
Absolutely, and I think the designers of the extraterrestrial Greys, besides that lanky, awkward creature that was kind of spindly, spidery in the background, the Greys were based on that the little child in Close Encounters, the little boy that at the end, and so they wanted to kind of mimic his boyish look.
I don't know if Steven Spielberg is even aware of it, but I think he's been picked up by them once. Because the adults are very tall and kind of weirdly thin in a lot of places. And then the Greys are very much like kids, but then you have that awkward middle stage. It doesn't stop them from running like a gazelle, though.
I just wanna. I'm on the same track as that fella that mentioned about Stephen Greer. Kind of sounds like he might have got in trouble. He's kind of trying to save his life, but I agree with what he's saying. He kind of just, out of the blue, just switched his story on his perspective on UFOs, which is kind of weird.
We wanted to thank everybody who joined us for this live event on location on the Hamakua Coast in regards to the UFO phenomenon. And if you've captured anything amazing, submit it to us via Skype, Facebook, Twitter. We'll be standing by. And when you share it to us, you're sharing it to the world. Everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. We're not alone. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time.